These people made shocking confessions.
Shocked isn't a big enough word.
In 2023, Ashley Randall's father, Thomas, was dying of lung cancer when out of nowhere, he admitted he once lived under another name.
Mom, Dad, and I were in the living room watching NCIS, and he just sort of out of the blue calmly said, well, ladies, just in case something comes up after I pass, I just need to let you know that I changed my name when I moved here. Nobody can know. The authorities might still be looking for me. He really quietly said, if I tell you, you have to promise you won't look into this.
His real name was Ted Conrad.
I couldn't not look. And the first thing that popped up was a headline that said something like, Ted Conrad, vault teller, bank heist.
Les Trent has more.
In 1969, Ted Conrad stole $219,000 from a bank in Cleveland where he worked as a teller. On the Friday before his 20th birthday, he simply filled a bag full of cash and walked away, never to be seen again. In today's dollars, his take would be nearly $2 million.
With his new ill-gotten wealth, Ted Conrad started a new life. He bought a penthouse apartment in Boston, played golf often, and became a car salesman.
By the time he married my mom, the money was gone.
But all that time, he was still being sought. America's Most Wanted and Unsolved Mysteries both did stories about him. And a father and son team, U.S. Marshals John and Pete Elliott, told Les Trent they made it their mission to capture him.
Did you guys, do you think, ever come close to finding his identity?
No, is the best answer I can give you. We follow leads all over the country and sometimes even the world.
The daughter told the remarkable story on a podcast, Smokescreen, My Fugitive Dad.
Because we were so close, I just assumed that since I had no secrets from him, he wouldn't have any from me.
Absolutely horrible every day. Almost every minute of every day has been a nightmare.
In 2018, after 25 years, Brian Hawkins had something to confess. He told a reporter at a TV station in Redding, California.
I'm going to turn myself in next door at the sheriff's department for a crime I was involved in years ago, and somebody lost their life.
Hawkins admitted to killing 19-year-old Frank McAllister in 1993. While McAllister's car was discovered in a parking lot, no one was ever arrested or charged in connection with his death. Hawkins and 2 other people allegedly robbed the teenager. They then stabbed him to death and dumped his body in the woods. It was found the next year. Hawkins and the others were all charged with crimes in connection to the death.
Frank never even got to have a life, and neither did I.
He finally confessed that he killed Natalee. He described when and how he killed her.
In 2023, Joran Sloot struck a plea deal with federal prosecutors in Alabama that required him to reveal what happened the night Natalee Holloway vanished 18 years before. Sloot gave a detailed narrative of what he says happened after he left a casino in Aruba with Natalee. I'm with Natalee walking along the beach. We started kissing each other. She tells me no. She tells me she doesn't want me to. I insist. She ends up kneeing me in the crotch. I get up and I kick her extremely hard in the face. Right next to her, there's a cinder block. I smash her head in with it completely. I half pull, half walk her into the ocean. I walk up to about my knees and I push her off into the sea.
He said that after killing her on the beach in Aruba, he put her into the water, and that was the last that he ever saw her.
Stephen Fabian has more.
Sloot wore an orange prison jumpsuit with his hands shackled to a chain around his waist as he entered the courtroom here in Birmingham. The room packed with Natalee's friends and family. Sloot spoke softly to the judge and at one point actually issued an apology to the Holloway family and said he hoped his statement confessing to her murder would give the family some closure.
I got the answer I've been searching for the past 18 years.
Long-awaited justice for this family, and you could just feel it in the courtroom how the weight had been lifted for especially Beth Holloway.
4 months before, Sloot was extradited to the U.S. from Peru on charges of trying to extort $250,000 from Beth to reveal the whereabouts of Natalee's remains.
Natalee's case, it's solved. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. It's over.
In 2018, 15-year-old Greg Ramos confessed to strangling his mom over a bad grade.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Megan Alexander has more.
Police say Greg Ramos and his mother got into a terrible argument when he came home with a D in school. Around midnight, he allegedly sneaked into his mom's room and strangled her. Then he went to get a wheelbarrow to bring the body out of the house. When he returned, he discovered she was still alive. He told police he strangled her again, this time taking half an hour to kill her.
He called 2 school friends who had allegedly helped him bury Gail Clevenger in a fire pit near a church outside Orlando.
All the stones were arranged. It was a fire pit, and this is where him and his friends would always come. We did a cursory search. Unfortunately, her foot was protruding after digging down maybe 8 or 10 inches. That's not really a big place to where he put his mom.
At first, young Greg Ramos told police he came home from school and found his home had been ransacked and his mother missing, presumably abducted by the burglars. But Greg Ramos had scratches on his face and he was taken in for questioning. Pretty soon, his story fell apart.
It was very boom, 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 boom. Normally you figure there's a point in time where somebody's going to break down or there's going to be some type of emotional. There was no emotional, nothing. There was nothing at all like that.
Gail's last post on Facebook was this photo of her son when he was 6 years old. "Love this face," she wrote. In 2018, Emily Morris recorded her former high school coach admitting they had an inappropriate relationship when she was a teen.
I'm starting recording now, so hope this goes well.
So yeah, it would have been kick-ass just to have had a non-sexual relationship at that time. Was it electric at times? Heck yeah.
In 1996, Emily Morris was an honor student and star athlete at Lindbergh High School in St. Louis.
She was fast, she was clever, she was beautiful, she was intelligent, and any sport she tried, she excelled at effortlessly.
Her mom, Joan, says Emily pursued cross-country and track at the urging of her coach, Jim Walder.
He was very charismatic. Jim appeared to be the perfect high school coach.
Coach Walder was 29, Emily was 15.
I felt like a flustery little kid because I did not know what to do. I'm the coach. I turned into a flustery little kid.
I think he singled out Emily because she was insecure. She felt that she was a nerd.
Her sister Andrea recalls sensing something was wrong.
I remember her just being so upset so regularly about the way she looked or what she was wearing, and she'd be crying before she went to school.
She found this drawing Emily scribbled behind a photo of her wearing a track uniform.
Coach Wilder told me to get liposuction after he saw this picture.
I was so frustrated,
okay, but that was
us up in your room naked, or you were naked, mad, frustrated, horny.
She was embarrassed about what had happened, and she felt guilty.
17 years later, Emily, now 32, went to the police. They gave her a recording device which Emily tucked inside her bra. Then she drove to a local shopping mall to meet Coach Walder. The coach suspected something was up.
How are you? You're not wired, are you?
But why did we never end up being together?
Because
did you love me then?
It's just not what I would have ever thought I would do. There's a couple people that know, and I feel ashamed almost every time I see them. We did something that wasn't right according to our laws these days. But I'm not a creeper.
She came back and cried and cried and cried. She was worried about ruining his life.
Jim Walder was charged with statutory sodomy, but before it even went to trial, tragedy struck.
She was dead on the floor.
Emily was found with her head in this wastebasket. A plastic bag was around her head. The cause of death, suffocation, but the police report labeled it suspicious.
I don't think it was a suicide.
It was not a suicide.
No suspects were ever named, and the investigation has been closed. All charges were dropped against Jim Walder. In 2018, 27-year-old William Leverett walked into a police station to confess a terrible sin.
We believe that he is the sole person responsible for this crime.
Pastors Colette and Michael Trzynski say Leverett came to them with a shocking admission.
He said, "Do you remember a woman was stabbed in Simsbury?"
November 2014, yeah.
And then he told us it was him.
The woman's name was Melissa Milan. She was a 54-year-old insurance executive. Les Trent has more.
Milan's body was found at the side of this road in Simsbury, Connecticut. At first, police thought she was the victim of a hit and run, but an autopsy revealed she had been stabbed in the chest.
For years, her murder went unsolved.
We said, "You know what you have to do, right, Will?" He said, "Yes, I know."
This video shows the moment he turned himself in. He hugged his fellow churchgoers. Then, with his Bible and other devotional books in his hands, he was led away by an officer. In his confession, Leverett told cops he had seen Milan jogging and was immediately attracted to her. She was way out of my league. I went into a frenzy.
He was relieved to be able to get it off his chest. He couldn't carry the burden of that lie any longer.
Yes, Mr. Todd Kell was here on the scene earlier today. Yes, he did show us where 2 more graves are.
In 2016, a man accused of holding a woman against her will in a storage container in South Carolina for 2 months confessed to murdering 4 other people in 2003.
It's called the super motorbike case. Scott Ponder was killed. Beverly Guy was killed. Mr. Brian Lucas was killed. And Chris Shuby Sherbert was killed. I'm happy to report to you because my God answers prayers. We signed 4 warrants on Todd Kell today with a confession that he did this crime.
The 2003 murders he confessed to took place in a motorcycle shop.
Anything you wish to say at this time?
Not at this time, sir.
I look at this person and I see someone without a soul.
Melissa Brackman was pregnant when her husband, the owner of the bike shop, was killed.
I was speechless, maybe for a second, and then I had a million questions for him because I've had no answers for so long. He was a disgruntled customer. He was mad.
After his confession, Kell took authorities to his 100-acre property in South Carolina and showed them where the bodies were buried.
There they are, and there they'll stay.
In 2024, the mystery behind the theft of Judy Garland's ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz was solved. Anne Mercogliano explains.
It's the deathbed confession from a dying mobster who's decided to set the record straight about that infamous 2005 theft. He's currently said to be in his final days in hospice care. Why did he come clean?
He wants to come clean to clear his conscience before he dies. He's very sick.
Terry John Martin admitted to stealing the shoes from the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
I think when you are seeing your own mortality, you are more willing to speak frankly.
Even though these shoes that he stole had no rubies, they still have a lot of value, right?
Another pair has been sold for $2 million. And if they came up again, who knows, $3 million.
Martin was ordered to pay restitution to the museum. Because of his poor health, he received no prison sentence.
I don't regret killing my mother. And as evil as that may sound, that's my reality.
In 2017, this confession came from an American heiress who murdered her wealthy mother on vacation in Bali.
I made it up. In my heart, in my mind, my soul, in my blood, in the oxygen running through my body, that I wanted to kill my mother.
21-year-old Heather Mack explained why she beat her mom to death and stuffed her body in a suitcase.
When I was 10, my mother killed my father in a hotel in Athens, Greece.
Family friend Elliot Jacobson says Heather's claims are nonsense.
It's the kind of statement that doesn't even warrant a response. It's such an absurdity.
The death certificate for Heather's father, James Mack, gives the cause of death as pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in the lungs.
Heather was never easy to figure out. I just think she's unhinged. I also think in this video that she's under some kind of opiate, heroin or cocaine.
Heather also claims that she tricked her boyfriend, Tommy Schaefer, into taking part in her mom's murder. He's now serving an 18-year prison sentence.
I regret trapping an innocent person into this because it was my battle. It's my mother, it was my father. I don't regret killing my mother.
In 2022, when the story of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was popular on Netflix, Inside Edition shared a never-before-seen interview he did.
What questions are we going to start out with?
It took place inside the maximum security prison in Wisconsin, where he was serving 999 years. Dahmer was 33 when he told Nancy Glass about his twisted motive for killing 17 men.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me. And as my obsession grew, I was saving body parts such as skulls and skeletons, and eventually I did turn to cannibalism. I'd have the sleeping pill mixture already prepared. The person would drink it, fall asleep, and that's when they would be strangled.
Do you still feel those same urges? Do you still feel that compulsion, that obsession?
I wish I could say that it just left completely, but no, there are times when I still do have the old compulsions.
Dahmer was murdered by another prison inmate almost 2 years after this interview.
That's what I deserve. I deserve death.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.